Thank you for taking some time to go through the draw process for your CCS construction loan. We really feel like this process will eliminate a lot of the time spent doing the draws and help the construction underwriters get your draw process as smooth as possible. Now, there's a couple tips before we get started. First, a smooth draw process will keep a customer happy and the lender happy. A lot of the turn time depends on how accurate and complete you submit your draw. The draw process sometimes might seem cumbersome, but keep in mind that they protect both the lender and the borrower from fraud and from dispersing money that really is not going towards the house. So let's get into some of the steps of the draw process itself. The first step is an easy step. We need to gather all the invoices to be paid from the subs and suppliers. Now, CCS cannot pay a sub or supplier without an invoice for their work. It is against our policies and procedures, and it's just generally a good policy on the borrower's behalf as well. Second, make sure that the work has been completed for all the items being invoiced. Now, for bigger trade items such as lumber, work does not need to be 100% complete to submit the draw. If our inspection shows 50% complete, for instance, we can pay 50% of the budget. Now, some subs will send you an invoice for the work before they are finished in hopes they can be paid as soon as possible. However, if the CCS inspection does not show the work being complete, we cannot pay it. So if you check the invoices to make sure the work has been done before you submit your draw will go faster and you won't have any pay items rejected. The only exception to this rule would be certain special order items that would require a deposit, such as cabinets. And if you have any questions on deposits or what would qualify as a special order item, feel free to contact the office. So next we're going to prepare our draw form. A correctly prepared, organized draw form will not only put you in good graces with our disbursement officer, but will get your draw done fast. And here are the components of the draw form itself. The item number. Now, this refers to the line of the CCS budget that was provided to you at closing. Every dollar you request must have an item number that corresponds to the category of the budget out of which the money will be dispersed. Description. This is simply the name of the category from the CCS budget. Payee. This is the name of the sub or supplier to whom the check will be made out. Tax ID number. Now, for those payees that are sole proprietors or LLCs that are not exempt from 1099 reporting, you need to include their tax ID number. Address. This would be the mailing address of where you want the check to be sent. Now, the pickup by payee or borrower box. This allows you, by checking this box, for the checks to be picked up at our office by either the sub or yourself. The amount you are requesting to be dispersed to the payee. Remember, you cannot request more money that is in the budget line, and you cannot request an amount for work not completed. Now, please check the amount is within those guidelines. It will help your draw to be processed as fast as possible. The signatures. The borrower and the builder must sign and date each draw request unless otherwise arranged with CCS before closing. For borrowers, please do not sign blank draw sheets for your builders. This leaves you susceptible to fraud. Now, a typed draw form we have included and we have access to in an Excel spreadsheet format, and we recommend you use this form so the addition is correct and it is legible, nice and typed. So let's go to the next step, which would be to submit your draw. Fax the draw request or email the draw request and the corresponding invoices to the CCS draw department. The draw department will check the most current inspection, check the draw request against your budget, and process the draw as soon as possible. We have found that an organized and accurate draw will take only 24 to 48 hours on average, while a messy, inaccurate draw usually takes about a week, depending on how many times we have to connect with you to have our questions answered. Let's go over a couple other draw tips as well. For any line item request that is over the amount in the budget, a line item transfer form must be completed to transfer money into that account before the draw can be processed. For example, if you have $5,000 in your excavation line item and your invoice to be paid is $5,500, you will need to transfer $500 from contingency to excavation in order for there to be enough money in that budget. Line item transfer forms were provided to you in your draw packet at closing, and additional forms can be obtained from the office. Let's talk about contingency. The contingency account is a buffer account for categories that go over budget. Now, it is a good practice to transfer all categories that come under budget and that are finished to contingency to have a running total of your buffer. For instance, if you had $10,000 budgeted for concrete and you only use $9,576, it is recommended to transfer the extra $424 into contingency so that as your project goes along, you have an idea of what you have available for cost overruns. Another tip on reimbursements. So if a situation occurs that you pay the sub or supplier from your own funds and you want to be reimbursed from the construction loan, you need to do the following. First, mark the payee on the draw form as yourself. Second, include the receipt of your payment. Third, have the sub or supplier that you paid sign a separate lien waiver form. Fourth, submit your draw. Now they need to sign a separate lien waiver form because they won't be cashing a CCS check, which has the lien waiver on the back of the check that is binding upon endorsement. And these lien waiver checks can be obtained by calling the office. Now here's 3 tips to conclude that really help speed up your draw. 1, write legibly. Remember that when your draw's faxed to our office and your handwriting is bad, we may not be able to read it and it will delay your draw. Another thing, correctly add your totals. A quick double check of your addition can also save your draw processing time. Also, you can plan with your inspections. Inspections are performed on the same 2 days each month. It is recommended to find out what days your inspections will be performed and then to plan on submitting your draws on that day or the day after. That way there will be no downtime waiting for a current inspection. So these are just a few tips on how to make your draw process go as smoothly as possible. If you have any specific questions on the draw process itself, please feel free to call into the office.